This town, which was once full of tourism, is now pretty much completely empty.
If Iran fires a rocket, that will be the first base to know about it.
I saw this out of the corner of my eye. There's a little Palestinian flag here.
We'll take care of it later, don't worry. It won't be there for long.
Look at how quiet it is.
This is extremely important. They're not tourists.
Might be the most Sfati thing I've seen so far. Harley Davidson.
Davidson is son of David.
Right behind us is a few graves of very holy people that changed the face of Judaism forever.
Shalom Chaverim, welcome to Tzfat here in northern Israel. This is a town that has been heavily affected by the October 7th war that was projected onto Israel by the terrorist group Hamas. This town, which was once full of tourism, mass amounts of tourists, millions of tourists that would come here every year, is now pretty much completely empty. And the people of the city are suffering. They're very strong, obviously very resilient people, but they are suffering in a lot of ways. I'm joined by some amazing locals who are here. My friend Nathan from the north of Israel. Good to see you again, brother.
Shalom Aleichem.
We got Eliyahu and Mr. Abulafia. Yecheskel Abulafia. Tell me a little bit about who you guys are and what's going on here in Tzfat, specifically about the tourism.
All right, I'm Eliyahu Pereira. I'm a teacher here in Tzfat, and I work also in tourism and trying to bring more people here and to expose the beautiful lights and vibes that we have in the city. And I do it a lot with my friend Hezbollah Abulafia.
I'm Yecheskel Abulafia. I'm from Florida, and I've been here for about 8 years now. And I came here on birthright. Didn't know anything about Judaism, and found out about my ancestor, and Avram Abulafia from Spain in the 1200s. He was a big Kabbalist, and that changed my life. And started getting into meditation, all his teachings, mysticism, and that's where I met Eliyahu, and we try to do God's work.
So, obviously, since October, there's been a very tough situation in this country.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen videos almost every week of sirens going off in this general region.
Correct.
People are under the impression that it's very dangerous to be here in Tzfat right now. I wanted to come to you guys who are locals to know what the truth is on the ground. What's actually going on here? What's happening? Who's suffering? I mean, I hear a fighter jet right now in the sky as we're walking by.
Correct.
That's always happening.
Yeah.
There's always, listen, we're a 20-minute drive from Lebanon, right? So we're not too far from Hezbollah and all of these terrorist groups in southern Lebanon.
Just a little, I saw this out of the corner of my eye. There's a little Palestinian flag here. Interesting that that's there.
We'll take care of it later, don't worry. It won't be there for long.
Get them, boys!
we don't like terrorist flags in our country. But listen, Tzfat, a lot of misconceptions. People think that it's really dangerous here and that we're getting bombarded by rockets. The truth is that we're not, but we're in very close proximity to Meron, which is a town here that has a very important strategic surveillance base, and that does get targeted a lot, and we hear it and we experience it. You don't go a day without hearing fighter jets and drones over our head, or booms. Usually either us getting fired at, not Tzfat, but the area, and us responding back. But the main effect, I would say, is this strip represents it, and we're going to see it. You're going to see it right now. Your eyes will be open to the reality. But in general, Tzfat is a tourist city. Right? The money that's made in Tzfat comes from tourism. And as we're going to see right now, this is the strip of the galleries, where Tzfat is known for its art and for its music and its creativity. And this is a gallery strip with, 20, 30 potential galleries. And since October 7th, with no tourism, look at the doors, right?
Except this guy, he really tried.
This guy.
So this is a look at a gallery, what it looks like. Manishma? So this is a look at a gallery. He's got a beautiful oud back there. So this is handcrafted artwork from Tzfat.
For the most part, yeah.
Mostly.
You see here
Toda.
also like art made from letters, right? As Jews, the letters represent everything. The world was created with letters, so why not make art with it as well? But yeah.
Look at how quiet it is. I mean, I remember when I was here, how much of a hustle and bustle it was. The streets were packed. It was full of life.
People all over the world. Like people from Africa, China, America, UK. They were all coming through here.
Yeah. This is like the kind of street that you can't. You have to walk like this, right? You have to You have to watch your shoulders and your elbows, and you can't run when it's packed. Like, it's packed. You cannot. The stores are packed and the street is packed. And now you don't have people coming to here to sleep here, even though it is safe. Like, we're not really.
So that was my main question. Like when I look here right now, I look all around. I look this corner, I see a ghost town.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a shell of what Tzfat was.
Correct.
But you guys are giving me an impression that it's not actually as dangerous as people are making it out to seem. Why
really not.
why do you think it's happening? Is it just fear mongering from news, or is it?
Yeah.
Is there an actual
Yes.
danger to being here right now? I don't feel very
There's no more
in
danger here than anywhere else in Israel. The reality is that if Hezbollah wants to hit Eilat, which is the very south of Israel, they have the capability to do it, right? And if they want to hit Tel Aviv, they can do it. And if they want to hit here, they could do it. It's not happening. So it's like, thank God, look, this is actually, look, as we're talking, this is pretty crazy.
We do have tourism
Yeah.
once in a while. But
Hello.
Hello, man. How are
Hey.
you going?
This is extremely important. You might see tourists, right? But they're not tourists. These are all tour guides. These are tour guides coming to complete different things that they need to
Oh,
know.
interesting. I was gonna say
They're on a
this.
course right now. These are tour guides on a course.
Uh-huh.
So these are not even tourists, right? So like, even these people, they're not tourists, right? And what do they have to see here? Usually they would come here, they would meet business owners, they would meet people, they'd make their connections. Hey, you come by my gallery, you bring your groups to my gallery, I'll cut you off a percentage or whatever it is. Now, what are they just coming to scout, right?
Yeah.
But they're not tourists.
Even when tourists do come, they're always asking, what happened? Is it because of the war? You know, like nothing's open. And this is what they see.
Does it make you guys sad to see this situation here? Or do you guys enjoy like an aspect of having Tzfat quiet?
I can't lie, it's definitely nice to have Tzfat quiet, especially also on like the religious side. Don't forget that we live a certain way and we hold ourselves a certain way, and sometimes tourists could walk through here not modest or whatever. Not that I would ever say anything to them, right? But
Right.
as a resident, obviously I would rather have my eyes not seeing those things. With that said, I would rather have all of that and those tourists and know that my city is producing money and people are not needing to ask for charities
He's
or
also
anything
open.
else. Right?
He's open all the time.
No matter what, even
never
during the
gives
war.
up. Yeah.
Earlier when we were at the distillery and we saw that business was created in the middle of COVID. When no one was allowed to walk in the street, we opened a store, right? So like the mentality here in Tzfat is we could care less what the physical eye sees of this world. We're always focused, we're trying our best to always be focused on God and God consciousness and God reality. So the fact that he's open right now and there's no מה הסיכוי שאתה חושב שתמכור משהו היום? בדיוק, thank you. I asked him, what is the chance that he thinks he's going to sell something today? What did he do? He pointed to God. There's no chance. Realistically, statistically, there's nearly no chance, right? I don't wish him that. But this is the fact that he's open. Why? Because God sends the money. It's not about us. You have a store, open it. Who knows what could be? You might end up on a YouTube with 250,000 subscribers. You don't know. You don't know.
בוא, דבר על זה, אני סקרן, כי אני לא הייתי בצפת כבר שנים, וכאילו מעניין אותי נורא איך אנשים מסתדרים פה, בעיר.
קשה קצת כי אנחנו רגילים לתיירות.
They're saying it's hard because they're very used to tourism.
The tourism they don't come to Tzfat, so it's quiet. We usually work only with the tourists.
Have you felt in danger since the war has begun with the rockets, with Hezbollah?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes they're shooting rockets and it's dangerous. When the shooting is dangerous.
Are you from Tzfat originally?
I'm born here.
You're born in Tzfat. Wow, amazing. But your accent in English is something, what am I hearing here?
I talk with the tourists. So it's
Okay, so you got a tourist accent.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. And how different is Tzfat now from before?
אתה יודע, לפני זה היה תיירות מלאה והיה תוסס וכולם עובדים ולא היה זמן לחשוב.
Saying before there was a lot of tourism, you couldn't even think, it was hustling and bustling.
עכשיו איזה שקט, you sit with yourself, you read, you hear radio, that's it.
It's a different pace, different change of life.
Okay.
But still good, no?
It's still good.
Still good to be
fun,
here.
It's nice, it's quiet and nice fresh air and everything.
I'm happy that you still have a smile on your face.
ברוך השם, thank God.
ברוך השם. מה השם שלך?
שמעון.
Shimon, nice to meet you, Shimon. תודה. Guys, check out Shimon when you're here in Tzfat. Amazing shop as well. So local artists from Tzfat.
זה כל החסידות חסידים יושבים על ג'יפ.
I feel like that might be the most Sfati thing I've seen so far.
זה משיח בן יוסף.
Oh, I love it.
בעל חמור, זה בשנות
So wait,
ה-60.
I should explain
בעל
that
חמור.
there's a common prophecy that the Mashiach, the Messiah, is going to come riding on a white donkey, no?
Yeah, and
So
the
there's
street of
a-
Tzfat, this is it.
There's a painting of the Mashiach.
This is Ben Yosef. There's two Mashiach coming. One
Uh-huh.
is Ben Yosef, and the other one is Ben David. Now it's 24, so it's coming early Davidson.
On a Harley Davidson.
Davidson is son of David. Ben David.
Genius. I love that. Coming on a white donkey, coming on a Harley. That's great stuff. בוא נקווה. תודה. נעים להכיר אחי, תודה רבה. תהיה בריא.
Right, so one of the things in Sfat, unfortunately, is that we have had a few soldiers that were taken. This was my neighbor. His name was Yedidia Eliyahu, and we lived right next to each other. And I moved out of the apartment that I was his neighbor in, and then the war started, and he got called in, and he was in the engineering corps, and he died. He got hit by an RPG
In Gaza?
in Gaza, and he was one of the most purest people I've ever met in my life. Calm, an amazing father, a loved husband, son, everything, an inspiration for his whole entire family. And he was taken out of the world trying to defend us here, and he left behind two beautiful daughters and a pregnant wife. And this is just like a little bit of the reality, you know. Like there's nearly no one in Israel that doesn't know someone that was killed or severely injured in any war that goes on, but especially now with the amount of numbers that we're dealing with.
There's far-reaching ramifications of this entire war to every family, every person in Israel has felt some sort of loss. Just like this street has, lost business, lost
100%.
tourism.
There's over 1.5 million tourists that come to Tzfat every year, and Tzfat went through Corona, which was like nothing, right? We're a tourist city, so if you don't have tourists coming, you don't have any money in the city, because it's either you have a store or a gallery or a restaurant like this, or you work cleaning up a store or gallery. Or, like everybody here revolves around tourism if they're making money. And this is a strip of a whole entire bunch of galleries, beautiful galleries. Maybe some of them will be open now, but for the most part, once we came back from Corona, people started to be making money again and feeling comfortable. The war broke out. So like all of the loss of Corona, of COVID period, was like we kind of came back to zero, right? Not really, because you had loss of potential, right? But at least the debt kind of came back to zero. And then you started to feel like, oh great, tourism's coming back, and then a war. And now it's like 7 months again of being hit and not being able to make money. It's a real problem. It's a hard thing to go through.
Eliyahu, I want to talk specifically about like the damage and the danger, because there are rockets being fired and it is kind of a war zone.
Yeah.
But you kind of pointed out to me the nuances of what exactly is happening.
So it's definitely a war zone, and obviously the whole entire country is at war, right? Everything north of Tzfat nearly is evacuated, right? So like everything between here and the Lebanese border, which is only 20-minute drive away, has been evacuated. The reason being, Hezbollah in southern Lebanon are firing rockets. A lot of people think that Tzfat is dangerous right now because they hear that Tzfat gets bombarded with rockets all the time. What's really happening is, if you can see it somehow, on the very top of this mountain, which is the
Look
second...
at that point right there. You can
see these like balloons on top there. They're surveillance balloons. There's no problem saying this because it's known, and that's why Hezbollah is attacking it. That is one of the most strategic points that the IDF and the IAF, the Israeli Air Force, have, which is an Air Force surveillance base that from there they can monitor the majority of the Middle East. If Iran fires a rocket, that'll be the first base to know about it, right? Unless they have intelligence from a different unit. But when it comes to surveillance of the Middle East is being surveilled from that mountain, and Hezbollah knows that, and they try to attack it. So with them aiming there, And them being the imbeciles that they are, sometimes their rockets don't make it there, and they might land all the way down there in the valley underneath Tzfat. So that's really what's going on, is that mountain gets pounded at least a few times a week by Hezbollah, and
But they never successfully hit it.
they do.
Oh, they do
They
hit the
have,
base.
Yeah, they've hit the base. Yeah, they
Oh, wow.
definitely have. They've hit the base. They've hit the base here in Tzfat. People have been injured. The northern command of the IDF is in Tzfat. The base is in Tzfat. So they do sometimes. I can't say that they haven't targeted Tzfat. They have. But again, for our luck right now, Hezbollah is going after the IDF and not the civilians. For their credit, let's give these terrorists a little bit of credit. They are still not attacking civilians.
Let's give these jihadis a little bit of credit where credit's due.
Right. They haven't turned on the civilians yet on this round. In the past they have, obviously, right? But in this round they are trying to go to the IDF because they know if they affect the civilians too much, they'll get attacked. With that said, on the border, the Lebanese border, they are firing directly at houses, and they are destroying houses just for the fun of it. And the families are not there because they've been evacuated by the IDF forcefully, meaning they've been told they have to leave the houses, and most of them don't have houses to get back to. So it's a very twisted reality, but Tzfat is safe, guys. You're welcome to come here and check it out.
On that positive note, I also want to add, like Eliyahu said, between 80 to 100,000 residents of northern Israel have been evacuated from their homes. It's an issue that nobody is talking about in the mainstream media, and it's something every time I get a chance to go to the north, I want to point out. You have to remember there are almost 100,000 or over 100,000 people in northern Israel that have been homeless for over 6 months now. They have been living in between hotels and shelters wherever they can. It's no way, and no human should be living like that, and it's an absolute horrible effect of this war. And nobody seems to be giving it any sort of attention. And also topographically, just mentioning, that's Mount Meron, right there at the top.
Yeah.
This is the second tallest mountain in Israeli territory, but actually, according to international law, it's disputed, the mountain that we have access to called the Hermon. So essentially, in actual Israel globally recognized territory, this is the tallest mountain in Israel. So it's a very important site, not just biblically and historically and nature-wise. It's a beautiful place, but the fact that army base is up there, it's a very, very, very important site.
And for all of you people in the West that love your environment and climate change and all of these different things, these terrorists are attacking forests non-stop. Before Israel came here, this was all barren. There were no trees here. All of these trees were planted by Jews with us coming back into our land. When the Arabs were in charge here and the Ottoman and the British ruled this land, it did not look like this. It wasn't green. There were no trees. It was completely barren. And now we're trying to make more forests and make more greenery in the world. And here you have terrorists shooting rockets that are flammable into trees that are flammable. And this is the reality we're living through. And also a lot of these people that are evacuated, they're farmers. No one's taking care of their chickens. Not only that, their chickens are being targeted by Hezbollah. So if you like animal rights, these Arab terrorists are shooting animals with rockets and burning. Imagine what a chicken farm is, right? We're talking tens of thousands of chickens. They're being burnt and killed for nothing, just to harm the pockets and the money of the Jews in Israel. So it's a terrible situation, and we're praying that everybody could come back to their houses. Most people don't have houses in these cities, and they're going to have to work back towards it, So we're here in Tzfat. We're at the ancient cemetery in Tzfat. Mm-hmm. And right behind us is a few graves of very, very holy people that changed the face of Judaism forever. They reveal things that were kept very secret, and they made it more accessible, more known. And also some of them wrote songs. The writer of the song the Chadodi that Jews sing every Friday night welcoming in the Shabbat is buried here, as well as the Arizal.
Are these considered graves of tzaddikim?
Correct. Whatever you see, blue is for sure is marking of a tzaddik, but not every grave has the blue, and they could still be tzaddikim, still be righteous people, very, very righteous people. And this is the ancient cemetery. Further down, Tzfat has its new cemetery down there that a citizen nowadays, right, would be buried in. No one is allowed to be buried anymore in this area of the graveyard.
These are all old graves?
These are all well over 200 years old.
Wow.
All of them.
Wow.
Some of them maybe 150, but after that, nothing. After that, it's already down below. It's customary for a Jew, when we come to these graves, we're not praying to these people, God forbid. We don't pray to anything but God, anything physical, any human being. But since the soul, we believe that a part of the soul of a person, when they're buried, always stays close to the grave. So since that person was such a holy person, and they emanated so much godliness, and they had such a level of godly light around them, that even on their grave, there's this higher level of Wi-Fi, a higher level of an ability to connect to God. So when we come here, our intention is to pray to God, with the added merit and light of the holy person that's buried here. Story. See this grave here to the left of where this man is sitting. That's the grave of a Kabbalist that was the leader of Kabbalah before the Arizal. His name is Rav Moshe Cordovero. When he was coming towards his passing, we have a belief, and we know this because it actually happens, that the more in tuned you are, you have a connection to your soul. You can know when you're going to pass. So the soul already gives the body a message 30 days before it's going to leave. And the Ramak knew this, and he told the students, when you come to my burial, there's going to be a pillar of fire above the place where I'm meant to be buried. Whoever recognizes the pillar of fire, not like really like a pillar of fire on top of the on top of the grave, whoever can see it. And during the burial, he was the one that saw it, and all the students that had heard that from the Ramak realized, oh wait, he can see it. That means one, that's where he needs to be buried, and two, that clearly this man, Rav Yitzchak, the Arizal, he's meant to continue the tradition and take the Kabbalah to the next step.
That's his burial right here?
That is right there, and the Arizal is there where those guys are buried. Cordova.
Yeah.
Spain, like the same as the Rambam, right? Maimonides, right? Came from the same city. Maimonides was 300 years before him, but
Amazing.
Thank you to my patrons on Patreon for funding my content. I cannot make these videos without your support, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, patrons. You're the best.
If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to monetarily support the channel. Some of the best ways to support me happen to be PayPal, buy me a coffee, or joining our Patreon community. Links to them can be found in the pinned comments or the description of every one of my videos. Joining my Patreon community gives you access to exclusive content and the chance to talk to me on our Discord server. I also go live almost every day here on YouTube. And after my live streams, me and my patrons from Patreon head over to our Discord server to an exclusive after party hangout. Your support is the only way that I can keep creating the content that you love watching for me. Thank you.